We're now coming to our second part, the day-by-day happenings all around the world as it relates to the second coming of Christ. Wednesday the 1st of February, time traveler. And by the way, those are all newspaper articles that are found all over the place and don't always necessarily agree with them. Like this one. This is what it says. Aliens will take over all governments in May of 2023, so just in a short time. Ari Germany, a modern-day Nostradamus, has made bold and outlandish predictions about the future, and an alien invasion may be among the tamer ones. She has gained a following of over 1.2 million people. And so what we are told here is that in May, the aliens are coming. Well, first of all, I want to remind you that aliens are evil spirits. We call them demons. And yes, they're real, and yes, they're out there. But God has another plan. This doesn't seem to be the plan that the aliens take over, unless this is connected with the rapture and then Antichrist and the demons take over. But I don't buy into this kind of stuff because, first of all, setting dates we're not supposed to do. And then secondly, Nostradamus wasn't always right. Many times he was wrong. And so is this guy. But anyways, I just want you to know what people are thinking and saying out there. Thursday, the 2nd of February. A dollar collapse is now in motion. Saudi Arabia signals the end of the petro status. One of the key pillars keeping the dollar in place as the world reserve is its petro status. And this factor is often held up as the reason why the greenback cannot fail. So you got a picture there. There is Christine Lagarde, and then she's the head of the IMF, the International Monetary Fund. Then you have Mohammed bin Salman. He is one of the heads of Saudi Arabia. Then you have an unnamed Chinese minister who is also part of this deal in kicking the dollar out of its status, the petro status. That would be pretty catastrophic for the dollar, and I don't know exactly how that is all going to happen, but it is going to happen. And we don't know exactly when and how smooth that transaction will be, but it's definitely not good. We're going on to Friday the 3rd of February. Major breakthrough, Sudan slated to join the Abraham Accords within days. Israel and Sudan will sign a peace agreement and what relations with Israel would do to help the people of Sudan. And certainly the Abraham Accord would help greatly. Sudan is a very poor country and inflation is terrible. But I don't trust Sudan. They're not just because they're Muslim, but also what they do to the South Sudan, the part that separated from the country of Sudan. The Sudanese Muslims go in there, they go into villages, burn down the villages, kill the people, rape the women, take the children back into Sudan as slaves. That's what's happening there. So I'm very skeptical about this article, this major breakthrough as they call it. Let's go on to Sunday the 5th. After some 120 devastating earthquakes in Turkey and Syria, Israeli teams take off to help Turkey in its recovery efforts. Some 150 doctors and nurses and first responders got into this plane with all the equipment that they need and all the tents and all the machinery and flew to Turkey and started immediately, one of the first countries that arrived there, to operate and to pull them out of the rubble and saved many lives. And then, this is what happened. Some of the Turks started to threaten the Israelis and say, we will kill you, you need to get out of here. And they kept doing this, and then Israel decided, we're pulling them back out. If that's the attitude, they want to kill us, we want to save lives, but they want to kill us, we're pulling out. And so they all went back. How many lives were not saved and were not pulled out of the dirt because the Israelites were gone? It's a shame. Monday the 6th, Russia published today its official map, which includes as integral parts the regions of Crimea, Donetsk, Luhansk, Zaporizhzhia, and Kherson. All parts of Ukraine, according to the Russian map, this is now Russia. You see it on the map, all this half moon there. Those are all parts of the country of the Ukraine, but now declared to be Russian. Well, we'll see. The end hasn't been spoken. Monday the 6th, the catastrophe of the century. The city of Kahramanmaraş in Turkey. Try to say that 3 times. And you look and it is devastating. Most of those houses, they are down. They were built shabby, they were badly built. And now the people have been buried in there and collapsed, and many of them died. Monday the 6th of February 2023. The shift of 9 feet to the west in Turkey, and you can't really make it out on this picture, but the whole country shifted to the west by 9 feet because of all those earthquakes, because of all those plates that are playing part into this. Tuesday the 7th. How did Israel get the suicide drone into Iran? And you remember last month I talked about this incredible attack by suicide drones that drilled a hole in the ceiling and then got through and exploded one of the machineries that is necessary to produce those atomic bombs. These type of drones only have a half-hour flying time because of their payloads. They were assembled in Iran and came through Azerbaijan. I want you to listen to this report from Azerbaijan. You have to listen carefully because it is definitely a very, very hard to understand guy. He's an Indian. But anyways, let's listen.
So recently you must have heard in the news that Israel has targeted Iran's defense facility. In this video, with the help of a map, we are going to learn why Israel did it and how did they do it. The first thing that you need to understand is that Israel and Iran have a long-standing geopolitical conflict. Iran and Israel both don't like each other. You can feel that in Iran's supreme leader's statement when he called Israel a cancerous tumor. In fact, in 2021, Iran's parliament has proposed a legislation which gives the necessary motivation to the Iranian government in taking initiatives towards destroying Israel by 2040. So you can clearly see that Iran hates Israel. On the other hand, Israel sees Iran as a significant threat due to its pursuit of nuclear weapons and support for militant groups. And this is true if you see Iran is the only Muslim country in the Middle East to have developed their own nuclear program. And it is also very advanced. Iran has the capability of enriching uranium to a great extent. In fact, United Nations report says Iran currently has enough enriched uranium to build several nuclear weapons. So you see, both Iran and Israel have enough motivation to attack each other. But then tensions have escalated in recent years when Israel started attacking Iranian nuclear facilities, then conducting cyber attacks and airstrikes in Syria. However, in this video, we're going to learn about the recent airstrike conducted by Israel on Iran's defense facility. If you look at the map, these are Iran's nuclear sites. On 30th January, Israel conducted a drone strike on a defense facility in the Iranian city of Isfahan. If you see, this city is right at the center of Iran. And why did Israel target a defense facility in this city? Because the city of Isfahan is a major center of Iranian missile production and research and development. Basically, this city is the hub of Tehran's missile industry, and this is also the place where Shahab medium-range ballistic missile has been developed. Let me tell you about this missile in brief. Shahab is a series of medium-range ballistic missiles developed by Iran. These missiles are based on North Korean technology and have a range of up to 1,500 to 2,000 kilometers. The Shahab 3 is the most well-known and widely deployed variant of the missile and is capable of carrying a nuclear warhead. Iran has been accused of using the Shahab missiles to support militant groups in the region and has threatened to use them against Israel. In fact, most recently, that is last year in November, Commander of IRGC's Aerospace Force, Amir Ali, announced that Iran has developed its first national hypersonic ballistic missile and it can strike Israel's capital in less than 400 seconds. So the existence of ballistic missiles in Iran has been a major factor in the tensions between Iran and the West. When I say West, even Israel is included. That is the reason Israel conducted an airstrike at a defense facility located in this city. Now, as per the Iranian Defense Ministry statement, they have said 3 Israeli drones were involved in this airstrike. 2 of them were successfully shot down and 1 of them caused minor damage to the facility. Now, this is not the first time drones have been used to strike defense facilities inside Iran. In June 2021, similar kind of drone strikes was conducted on a centrifuge manufacturing center in Karaj. Likewise, in February 2022, there was an attack on an Iranian military drone storage and manufacturing facility in Kermanshah, and both these drone attacks have been linked to Israel. Now, the interesting point to note is that Israel has used 3 quadcopter drones, which is basically a short-range drone, and these are equipped with bomblets. I don't know if you know this, in the month of November last year, Israeli company called Elbit Systems unveiled a micro drone called Lanius. You can call this Israeli version of Iran's Shahed 136 drone that Russia is using in Ukraine. The only difference is Israelis have made it much smaller and it doesn't make as much noise as the Iran's Shahed 136. So it is said that Israel has used this quadcopter drone on their 30th January strike. As I've said earlier in this video, both Israel and Iran are aware of each other's tactics. After this January 30th drone strike, Iran has warned Israel not to play with fire and has threatened to retaliate. Having said that, let me also tell you that even Israel very well knows that it will receive a response from Iran because it has happened in the past. That is why I am saying that both Israel and Iran are aware of each other's tactics. Now, why did Israel do it? What is the purpose behind it? So there are a couple of reasons behind it. Number 1, whenever Israel conducts any kind of strike in Iran, United States is duly informed. So we have to factor in United States' interest as well as Israel's interests. So what is United States' interest with respect to Iran? Basically, Washington desperately wants to bring down Iran's nuclear program. The second reason is Iran's military wing, that is IRGC, which is often called as Iran's militant group by the West. They constantly attack United States troops and allies in Syria. I have a video called Current Situation in Syria. Watch that, you will understand who is doing what and how it's being done. The third reason is, as you may know, Iran was supplying drones to Russia, and Russia has been using those drones against Ukraine. I am talking about kamikaze Shahed drones. So that is also one of the United States' interests to take down the facility where these drones are being manufactured. And the fourth reason is, who is currently a big threat to Israel? It is the Lebanese Shia militant group Hezbollah. And who supports Hezbollah financially and militarily? Iran. So any kind of arms shipment that has to reach Hezbollah or other proxy forces in Syria, it has to move through Iraq and Syria. So it is very much in Israel's own security interests to attack any kind of arms manufacturing facility inside Iran. In December, Benjamin Netanyahu again became the Prime Minister of Israel. Now, one of his allies in an interview has said, if United States does not secure a new nuclear deal with Iran, then Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will give orders to strike Iran's nuclear facilities. Now, if at all this news tells you that Israel is going to act independently, if United States does not succeed with a new nuclear deal with Iran, that will be a mistake. What you have to understand is that both Israel and United States, they both are on the same page. They will not say this upfront, but you have to realize that they are on the same page. Israel is basically United States plan B. What I mean is, if the United States do not succeed with a new JCPOA agreement, then they are going to coordinate with Israel and conduct airstrikes in Iran. Just to give you evidence of this, why do you think Israel and United States conducted a joint military exercise called Juniper Oak on 24th Jan, and that too in the Eastern Mediterranean Sea? In this exercise, long-range bombers were part of it, precision targeting and mid-air refueling all were part of the drill. It was clear that this was an offensive capability exercise directed towards Iran and not some kind of random military rehearsal for Israel defense. So if at all United States and Iran fail in coming up with new nuclear deal, the United States is going to coordinate with Israel and strike Iran's nuclear facilities. If you want to know more on JCPOA agreement, I have a video on it, watch it. So anyhow, you have got the reasons why Israel is striking Iran's facilities. Now we will learn how Israel is doing it. How are they sending their quadcopter drones inside Iran? If you look at the map of Iran, there are 2 ways Israel can enter Iran, that is through north and through south. This way is a bit difficult because they have to then cross Jordan or Syria and then Iraq and then enter Iran. Syria is not possible, as you know the majority of the Syrian airspace is under the control of Russia, and Russia is not going to give free hand to Israel just like that. Coming to Jordan, Jordan and Israel have a complex relationship. While there is no official diplomatic relationship between the two countries, apart from a peace treaty signed in 1994, but then there is a huge political and cultural differences between the two. And then, as you know, Jordan is in support of Palestine, and it is not in favor of Israel's claim of Jerusalem. So with that much of differences, I don't think Israel will go to Jordan and then convince Saudi Arabia and then enter Iran. Now, Israel and Saudi Arabia do not have any official diplomatic relations. However, there have been recent reports of covert cooperation between the two countries, mainly due to their mutual concerns over Iran's regional influence. But then the Saudi government officially supports the Palestinian cause. And the last thing Israel would do is ask United States to convince Saudi Arabia so that Israel can supply their drones from Saudi Arabia into Iran. And this is also a huge risk because then chances are Israel and United States covert operations against Iran will be publicly known, and that is not going to be in United States interests. If you notice, I use the word supply instead of launch. These drones are very small and can be used only for short-range operations. Their flight time is also less than half an hour. That means you should realize that these strikes have been launched from inside Iran. These quadcopters cannot fly from neighboring countries. Now the only way these tiny Israeli drones can enter Iran is from north. If you see, Azerbaijan is geographically closer to Iran. And I don't know whether you know this, all the missions in the Iran's northeastern region by Mossad, Israel's intelligence agency, have been launched from Azerbaijani air bases. In fact, the second Armenia-Azerbaijan war, which took place in 2020, Azerbaijan used many of Israeli weapons. Israel and Azerbaijan have a long-term strategic cooperation, which is also a best-kept secret, and it is not something new, it is happening since 1990s. Israel has trained Azerbaijan's military. Israel has also played a significant role in the building of Azerbaijan's military capabilities and establishing Azerbaijan's defense industry. In fact, 1/3 of Iran's population are ethnic Azerbaijanis. This is an asset for Israel. With the use of soft power, Israel can easily create instability in Tehran. For example, recently the anti-hijab protest in Iran. For a second, forget about the morality of the issue. It did not happen just like that. Look at the timing. On 15 September, Iran signed a memorandum to join the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. And 5 days after that, protest happens, a woman dies, and it turns into a global issue. This is not a coincidence. This is a reformist movement, and it has been directly sponsored by the United States. US is also using the unrest to create instability in Iran. Even Canada has joined the bandwagon in the name of human rights. So anyhow, what I'm trying to say is that ethnic Azerbaijanis in Iran are an asset for Mossad. Israel can easily use them to advance their interests. Now, Azerbaijan has several military air bases which are combined with civilian airports. Some of the most significant ones include the Ganja International Airport, which serves as the country's main military air base, and it is located in the city of Ganja. Then there is the Nakhchivan International Airport, which is located in the Nakhchivan Autonomous Republic, and then there is Heydar Aliyev International Airport in the capital city of Baku. These air bases are used for both military and civilian purposes and play a key role in Azerbaijan's air defense and air transportation infrastructure. Among these three, if you see, Nakhchivan International Airport is located in the autonomous region of Azerbaijan. If you look at it from Azerbaijan's side, it is very much behind Armenia. But then it has a border with Turkey. So this is where you have to understand that Turkey supports Azerbaijan and Armenia has the support of Russia. And Turkey is also a member of NATO. Turkey's membership in NATO has also been a key factor in its political and military ties with the United States and other NATO countries. Although it is not publicly known how Israeli drones enter Iran, as both Israel and Iran maintain strict secrecy regarding their military operations and intelligence activities. But then the only way Israeli drones can enter Iran is through these international airports, wherein some Azerbaijani asset has to physically carry it inside Iran. You cannot fly them and send it inside. As it is, these are quadcopters, they do not have that much of flight time and cannot fly that long distance. And even if they go inside Iran through aerial way, Iran has surface-to-air missiles which are part of Iran's air defense system. Iran's air defense network is considered one of the most advanced in the Middle East and is designed to detect, track, and engage enemy aircraft and missiles. The country's air defense systems are integrated with radar, early warning, and command and control systems, and they are deployed at key locations along its borders and around its major cities and critical infrastructures. Iran has also deployed air defense systems in its naval and ground forces, which enhances its ability to defend its interests and assets in the region. So the only way Israeli drones can enter Iran is through these international airports, wherein some Azerbaijani asset has to physically carry it inside Iran. And not just by airport, you can enter Iran by bus, train, ferry or car. Right after this incident, Azerbaijan has issued a travel warning for Iran because there was an attack on Azerbaijan's embassy in the Iranian capital Tehran, which has left one person dead and two others wounded. This has been termed as a terrorist attack. Now you can imagine inside Iran who will attack Azerbaijan's embassy. I have explained the entire situation, just use your common sense and try to imagine who did it. As I've already said, 1/3 of Iran's population are ethnic Azerbaijanis. This is an asset for Israel. And I have also said Israel has trained Azerbaijan's military. Israel has also played a significant role in building of Azerbaijan's military capabilities and establishing Azerbaijan's defense industry. Anyhow, so this is the route through which the Israeli drones have entered. Turkey has definitely given the land route, and Azerbaijani airbase or even land route has been used. I hope you found this video informative. Thank you for watching it.
So the bottom line is that the Israelis smuggled the drones into or flew them into Azerbaijan, then smuggled them down into Iran, assembled them in Iran, and then just a little bit away from where it's supposed to explode, let them go up in the air and do their job. And it was done flawless. Amazing. Let's go to Tuesday the 7th. Massive Russian attacks on Kiev. Citizens escape into subway tunnels. It continues on. It is horrible. People are getting killed, and the living standard is just very, very difficult. Thursday the 9th of February. You're familiar with this big statue with the arms spread out and right there, and they catch it on with a photo. And the report is that many locals are worried that it's a bad sign. Well, read your Bible and you'll find out where we're at on God's timetable. Friday the 10th, new find in Jerusalem from the time of King Herod, 2,000 years ago. There is a very interesting report that I like to show you, and it has to do with what they found in underground as they were digging up on the road that leads up to the Temple Mount back in the time of Jesus, and it was destroyed in the year 70. Saturday the 11th of February. Human microchip implants take center stage. Today more than 50,000 people have elected to have a tiny chip surgically inserted between the thumb and the index finger serve as their new swipe key or credit card. In Germany, for example, more than 2,000 Germans have opted to receive these implants. It just shows you how people are ready and willing to go to this system. Most people, more than 50% of all the people say, I'm ready, you bring this system and we'll do it. Why? It can't be stolen, and it'll always be with me. I can't forget it at home. That's the way to go. Well, what is going to happen in the book of Revelation is that Satan will use that chip to keep track of every person, and not only that, they can then find out what they can buy and what they can sell, and so it is a very dangerous situation. Not now, but in the future to come. Once it's connected to the 666, it becomes a satanic sign. So not at this point, but in the time to come. Let's go to Sunday the 12th. The Black Sea Fleet of the Russian Navy bombed the Zatoka Bridge in Odessa district tonight with a suicide unmanned marine vehicle. The bridge is an important traffic route from Ukraine to Romania and Moldova. You remember when the Ukrainians destroyed that huge big bridge of the Russians and how upset they were. So now they said, we'll pay you back by destroying one of your bridges, an important bridge from the Ukraine to Romania and Moldova, and they used an unmanned boat with explosives, and you can see right at that moment of the explosion what it looked like. Monday the 13th of February. Officials in Sudan said last night that all understandings have been reached with Russia for the establishment of a Russian military base in the Red Sea. They said that the army supports the agreement and now the approval of the civilian government is required, and that Moscow agrees to most of Khartoum's demands, including the supply of weapons and military equipment. So that's interesting. The Russians get involved with Sudan, and they're saying, we are going to supply you with weapons and military equipment, and there's a give and take, and they are in agreement. Oh, I thought that Sudan was about to become member of the Abraham Accord. Now with Russia, that doesn't seem to go right. I don't think both can happen. It's one way or the other. So maybe the Sudanese changed their mind and said, no, we'll go with the Russians instead and not with Israel. Remember, the Sudan is one of the countries, one of the minor countries that will attack Israel in the Gog and Magog war. And so I have never trusted them to begin with. Also because of their relationship to the south. Because in the South Sudan, that's where the Christians live. In the north, they come down, they destroy the villages, they kill the women, the women, they rape them, they take the children as slaves back to Sudan. So, in my opinion, that country is not to be trusted. Let's go on to Tuesday the 14th. The official death toll from the earthquake in Turkey and Syria has crossed the 30,000 at that point. According to the UN, it will likely reach the staggering number of 50,000. While it has reached 50,000, it's even above 50,000. And there you see the plates, how they shift and how they are aligned. And everything kind of comes together in Turkey. No wonder that Turkey is prone to earthquakes big time. Wednesday the 15th of February. Israel could not survive on the waters of the Jordan alone, so they developed massive deceleration plans. And here is one of them, and I want you to watch them. See what happened here.
24 hours a day, 365 days a year, this plant pumps water from the Mediterranean to desalinate it and make it drinkable.
This pipe actually delivers around 360 million cubic meters of seawater, desalinating them and delivering 137 million cubic meters to the population of Israel.
Today, 3/4 of the water consumed in Israel comes directly from the sea, thanks to desalination stations like Hadera in northern Israel. Without these, for lack of natural water resources, Israel would no longer have any access to drinking water, according to David Mulgay, the boss of this mega factory, which extends over nearly 2 kilometers.
We can see now all over the world that water is becoming to be scarce. 97% of water upon Earth is in the sea, is salt. So we have to learn how to do it efficiently.
After being extracted, the seawater is propelled into these tubes at very high pressure, where it is filtered until it becomes a perfectly pure liquid, but in which it will, however, be necessary to add certain minerals, such as calcium, before redistributing it and consuming it.
בכל המפעל 4,780 מכלים כאלה, בתוך כל אחד יש 8 ממברנות.
This technique, called reverse osmosis, makes it possible to obtain drinking water in record time.
90 minutes ago, this was a wave in the sea. And now... Full of salt. Full of salt. Taste it, please, and you'll find that this is the best drinking water you've ever had.
There are already 5 desalination plants like this along the Mediterranean coast, and the number will rise to 7 in the coming years, which will meet all of Israel's future clean water needs.
In 2018, the government of Israel had made a resolution that by 2030, Israel will desalinate 1.1 billion cubic meters of seawater, and that will anticipate all the future needs, including the growth of the population.
In the next 30 years, around 60% of the world's population could experience severe shortages of drinking water, according to some experts. For its part, Israel seems to be sheltered from these forecasts thanks to its desalination plants.
Thursday, the 16th of February, 5.2 magnitude earthquake struck Romania, 4.8 the Philippines, 5.0 Romania, 4.7 Indonesia, 5.1 China, 4.8 Japan, 4.7 South Africa, 4.0 Chile, 4.8 Turkey. It's just a massive amount of earthquakes all over the world suddenly. And look at this one, Thursday the 16th, a 6.1 earthquake in New Zealand, and a 6.1 magnitude earthquake hits the Philippines. No tsunami warning issue, however. But on the same day, Thursday the 16th of February, the cyclone Gabriel left much devastation in New Zealand. So while there are those earthquakes in New Zealand, the people are sitting on the roofs of their homes because of the flood, as you can see. Terrible situation. Friday the 17th. Why has the tribulation not started? There's a new book out, and it's by Amir Tsarfati, and it says this, has the tribulation begun? The answer is no, it hasn't. Why? Because of Daniel 9:27, which states that Antichrist will come and arrange an agreement between many nations and Israel, and it's going to be a 7-year agreement. Oh, okay, so we know that's the tribulation, and halfway through the tribulation, 3.5 years, he will come, Antichrist, to Jerusalem and set himself up to be worshipped as God. And that's why it hasn't started yet. We didn't see that agreement yet. The Abraham Accord, those are the beginnings of it. But it's going to be much larger. Many, many nations will join in and have this agreement with Israel. Antichrist will make it happen. Saturday the 18th of February, digital currency is coming to the world. It's all about control. Go ahead and watch this little clip together.
Hi there folks, welcome to Prophecy Update, where we look at current events in the light of Bible prophecy. My name is Bob Mitchell. I'll be with you for the next few minutes. And please don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell if you want to be notified when new videos come up. And please like, share with your friends, and please leave a comment beneath the video. I don't know if any of you have heard of Project Cedar. Many are saying it's the inside plot to destroy the US dollar. On November the 15th, 2022, several of the sector's biggest banks agreed to a shocking new plan, and it's one that many think may cause a complete overthrow of the United States dollar as we understand it. It was sponsored by the New York Federal Reserve, and individuals on this plan include banking giants like Wells Fargo, Citigroup, HSBC, MasterCard, simply to name a few. Now this pilot program is called Project Cedar, and it would convert regular US dollars into a brand new sort of dollar, digital, And that can have a big implication for all American residents. You see, Project Cedar is just the second step in an entire overhaul of the United States banking system. Now, the first step was announced on March the 9th, 2022, when President Biden signed Executive Order 14067. And this executive order gave provision for this new US dollar, and it will deliver the US government's exceptional control over your money and your freedom. In fact, it may even pave the way for things like legal authorities to surveil all US citizens. It will also have control over your bank debts and your purchases, and it'll have the ability to silence all dissenting voices. I've been cautious about this for months, says famed microeconomist Jim Rickards. And now, with the launch of Project Cedar, the wheels are fully in motion, and I don't believe anything can stop it, he said. Mr. Rickards is one of the world's main monetary professionals, and he's been a respected consultant to the CIA, the Pentagon, and other multiple US presidents. The way he sees it, this is the start of a sinister new plot against ordinary Americans. He said, "We are in for a major upheaval of the US dollar." He said, "In fact, I expect the part 3 of the Great Dollar Earthquake has already commenced. The first was Roosevelt confiscating non-public gold in 1934. The second was Nixon leaving the gold standard in 1971. Now," he says, "this latest plan could pave the way for retiring the US dollar." Do you get that? For retiring the US dollar and replacing it with a disturbing new alternative, a digital currency. But you know, friends, America isn't alone in this. China, India, Italy and the rest of the EU, the UK as well, all their banks are looking into changing to what is called CBDC, Central Bank Digital Currency. That means there will be one central bank overseeing all digital currency and how you spend it. It will pave the way for complete control of your finances. For instance, supposing you plan to spend your digital currency on something the government disagrees with, such as a train fare to attend a demonstration against certain people or things that the government approves of, and they'll be able to tell just what you're going to spend your money on. She or he is going to spend her digital currency on train fare to go to this event. If they think you're going to do that, they could block your digital currency at source. So you can't spend it. Surely this is one step closer to the global crisis that's coming, that will then usher in the global government and total control of your life and your currency under the Antichrist system, the coming mark of the beast. It's incredible that this was all prophesied 2,000 years ago in the Bible, and due to take place right before the return from heaven of Jesus Christ to set up his godly empire from Jerusalem, and after the Jewish people returned to the land, and they did that in 1948. So we are now well on a run-up to this global government and the control of your finances. I need to ask you now, do you know Jesus Christ as your Saviour? Turn to him now while you can to avoid God's coming judgment. Because 2,000 years ago, Jesus took your punishment from God when he hung on the cross. But you have to be willing to turn from your sin, admit you are a sinner, agree with God that Christ died on the cross for you in your place, receive Jesus Christ into your heart, and become a follower of him. Without him, you have no hope in the world. But if you are resting in Christ, I want to tell you something. No matter what happens, your eternal future is safe in Christ. And as all these things are happening, friends, remember, the Messiah is on his way back.
One day, Jesus is coming. You may be at church. You may be at work. You may be asleep. God grant that you will be ready when he makes his personal appearance. My God, what if his appearance occurs on a Sunday morning? My prophetic word to you this morning is get ready! Get ready!
יברכך אדוני וישמרך. יאר אדוני פניו אליך ויחונקה. יישא אדוני פניו אליך וישם לך שלום.
The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace.
Sunday the 19th of February. As the value of the Lebanese currency is spiraling down, angry citizens began to burn down banks. So they let their anger out on the banks as if the banks are the fault of the devaluation of the currency, which of course is not true. Burning stuff only hurts things. It does not make it better. Monday the 20th. Since the first powerful earthquake in Turkey, 5,700 aftershocks were recorded. 6.5 magnitude earthquake struck the border area of Turkey and Syria again. Another 6.3 magnitude, but the Israeli Seismological Institute reported a 6.5, even bigger. The earthquake was felt in Egypt as well, all the way down to Egypt. Tuesday the 21st, this is what a map looks like of 7,700 earthquakes since the strongest on February 7th one looks like. So all those dots, every one of them is an earthquake. 7,700 of them. Wednesday the 22nd. Palestinians were killed and over 100 others were injured in armed clashes between Palestinians, those are the Arabs, and Israeli forces in Nablus, that's Shechem in the Bible, on Wednesday. And so what happened was the Israelis came in with their military because there were continuous killings of the Israelis, and they cleaned out that city, but it was very powerful, and like I say, 10 died and 100 others were injured. Thursday the 23rd. With every aftershock, more houses collapse in Turkey again and again. Friday the 24th. Israel, the UAE, United Arab Emirates, unveiled jointly developed new weapon. Israel and the UAE are deepening their military cooperation, revealing that they have developed an unmanned naval vessel, a key weapon that could be used in the shadow war with Iran. And I want you to go ahead and watch this briefly.
Well, unfortunately, we were not allowed to come close to this boat for legitimate security and industrial secrecy reasons regarding the advanced technologies on board. But the information has been made public. It is an unmanned ship equipped with advanced sensors, several sonars, and a whole control system operated remotely. A surface ship which does not need to dive to make itself more stealthy. It will be used for surveillance, reconnaissance, reconnaissance and mine and submarine detection missions. So there are two important facts behind this. First, this is the first military vehicle to be manufactured jointly by the Israelis and the Emiratis since the signing of the Abraham Accords 2.5 years ago. For the moment, Israel Aerospace Industries is very careful about disclosing any information. It is impossible to know who contributed to what on this ship, which will be produced, of course, in several units, and why not then sold internationally. And then the second notable fact, the growing fears of the UAE vis-à-vis the Persian Gulf. Iran is only a few dozen kilometers away. Maritime security is increasingly under attack in this narrow corridor where a quarter of the oil and gas consumed in the world transits, and that does not include the arms and human trafficking that is developing a little further south between Yemen and Somalia.
Saturday the 25th of February. A terrible picture. This is the US annual trade deficit, and as you can see all the way down to the right, you have 948 billion, almost $1 trillion deficit in America. That's horrible. It cannot continue. This will not go on forever. It can't. And you can see how it's increasing and increasing and increasing. That's a terrible statistic. Sunday the 26th. The Deputy Foreign Minister of Russia, Mikhail Bogdanov, said in an interview with the Russian news agency TASS that Russia, Iran, Syria and Turkey are exploring the possibility of a joint meeting for their foreign ministers. Foreign ministers of 4 countries, 3 of them are involved in the Gog and Magog war according to Ezekiel 38-39. That's Russia, that's Turkey, and that's Iran. But where's the staging ground? The staging ground is Syria. Syria doesn't have a whole lot of military. It's destroyed. It's not there. But they say, we got the country. We got the staging ground. So you all come in, and we all hate Israel, and we're going to attack Israel. And now they're getting together, very interesting, to discuss. What are they discussing? I'm wondering. Ezekiel 38-39, the Gog and Magog war, the 3 major enemies of Israel are recorded as Russia, Iran, and Turkey. The staging of the war will be in Syria. Let's wait and see what's happening there. Monday the 27th of February, 2 young Israeli brothers were shot to death by a Palestinian terrorist a few hours ago. As usual, the Palestinians began to distribute sweets to the passersby as a token of joy. 2 Israelis were killed, young men, and now we're passing out candy to enjoy it. It's disgusting. Now, this time something happened, something unexpected. In response to the cold-blooded murder of their friends, Jewish settlers arrived at the scene and set on fire businesses and houses. The Palestinians are in a state of panic and shock. Jews in their mind aren't supposed to revenge. In the past, they never did. They let the military do whatever they needed to do. But this time, Israelis said, we have had enough. We're going to just burn down a bunch of things. Let them know how we feel about you killing our young men. Now, of course, the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu immediately said, you need to stop that, Israelis. That's not how we operate. Let the military take care of it. We will do it, and we will do it the right way. Tuesday the 28th, last day of the month. The Iranian Army and the Islamic Revolution Guard Corps, the IRGC, staged a joint air defense exercise across Iran to be ready for the possible airstrike on their nuclear sites by Israel. They know Israel is planning to attack them, and so now they're getting together and they're trying to see how can we defend it, what can we do, what kind of rockets can stop the incoming. And it's very interesting that at that same time, those nations, Russia, Turkey, Iran, are meeting together, and also Syria as the staging ground. Maybe, and that's just me thinking, could it be that they're saying, we know they're going to attack Iran, let's get ahead of them, and we attack them, all three of us, the Russians, the Turks, the Iranians, together, they're very, very strong. But you know the outcome of the Gog and Magog war. And those three nations will be, their soldiers, their military equipment will be destroyed by God supernaturally. Who knows? Maybe this war is just around the corner. We don't know. I want to do something special at the end. Amir Tsarfati says, the Ayatollahs in Iran should be very worried. This is why they are conducting an air defense drill. For your information, the US administration is the last hurdle we have to overcome in order to do what we must do, the sooner the better, the attack on Iran. All right, what I want to do now at the end is to ask a question. The question is this: how close are we to the rapture? Everyone wants to know that. Well, no one knows the day or the hour, but we are to recognize the season in which we live. There's a reason why God gave us over 400 end-time signs, all of them pointing to the second coming of Jesus, our Messiah. So what are some of the birth pains? And so I put together a list of 10 birth pains as we see them happening right around us. Birth pain number 1, earthquakes. Thousands of aftershocks in Turkey, Syria, Lebanon, Israel, and around the world. They are happening. Jesus says in Matthew 24:6 that one of the signs at the end will be an increase in earthquakes. Number 2, pandemics. 6.7 million people have already died on COVID. And in Luke 21:11 it says there will be great earthquakes, famines, and pestilences in various places, and they are happening. Number 3, wars and armed conflicts. In Mark 13:7 it says, when you hear of wars and rumors of wars, do not be alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. And there are literally dozens of wars going on around the world. We don't hear much about it, but they're there. Armed conflicts all over. Of course, the Russian-Ukraine war, that's the big one right now, and there's no end in sight. Number 4, woke society and woke nations. And we read a list in 2 Timothy 3, verse 1 through 9, of what people will be like and what nations will be like. And it's not a pretty picture. They're not normal anymore. They are outside of normality, if you can say that. Number 5, globalism. Last month I reported a lot about the World Economic Forum, and their goal is political and economic joining under a world government. And Revelation 13, verse 16 and 17 talks about that one man, one day, will take over the world. And that's their goal. That's what they're pushing for. Number 6, gender confusion. Even children will be mutilated to change their gender. In Genesis 2, God created man and woman. It's a clear deal. No exceptions. In Romans 1, God tells us how He hates what's happening. Man with man unnaturally, women with women unnaturally. That is not the way God designed it. No matter what the culture is saying. Don't back up of this. This is biblical. This is what God tells us. And that's what we need to go by. Number 7, compromised pulpits. There is liberal teachings going on all around, not just America, but the world. And it's taken us away from the Gospels. There's also false religious teachings going on. I recently got a letter in the mail. I opened it up, and there is a little piece of cloth from Saint Anthony from hundreds of years ago. And it said that he was spitting on this piece of cloth. And so it's a blessed cloth because he's spitting on it. I mean, it's unbelievable what people come up with to collect money. And so I'm supposed to use this little spit on cloth by St. Anthony and because it represents blessing for me. What a lie. In 2 Timothy 4:3 we read, "For the time will come when people will not put up with sound doctrine. Instead, to suit their own desires, they will gather around them a great number of teachers to say what their itching ears want to hear." And that's what's happening right now. Number 8, inflation. I know we have inflation here, but look at some of the other countries and their inflation. Venezuela, unbelievable, 1,198%. In other words, a year ago, if you could buy, let's say, an egg for $1, today that egg costs 1,198 of Venezuelan money. Can you imagine that? It's crazy. How can people live like that? No wonder they eat cats and dogs and rats. Sudan, 340, Lebanon, 201, Syria, 139, Suriname, 63, Zimbabwe, 61, Argentina, 51, Turkey, 36, Iran, 35, Ethiopia, 33. Unbelievable inflation. Now in America they say what, 6 or 7%, but that's not really true. Why? Because they leave out the food and they leave out the petrol, all the oil products. And we know that those two, I mean, the oil almost doubled. And the food more than doubled. I mean, the food is incredibly expensive, but it's not included. You see, if that were included, we'd probably be up in 10 or 12 or 14, 15%. That would be the reality of our American inflation. But that would upset people. So let's exclude those things. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. No wonder in Revelation 6 verse 6 it says, "A quart of wheat for a denarius, and 3 quarts of barley for a denarius." That's about a day's wages. Times will come in the 7-year tribulation when the inflation will be so bad, the food will be so scarce that the amount of money for just basic simple food will be through the roof. Number 9, extreme weather. Luke 21:25. The past 5 years on our planet have been the warmest ever recorded in history. 1.2 trillion tons of ice are now melting each year, while the Atlantic Ocean unleashed more hurricanes in 2020 than ever before. As the delicate balance of our atmosphere accelerates toward an uncertain future, pockets of the world are being ravaged by fire and floods. Now, I know that people would bring this back to global warming, but I think there's much deeper. It goes much deeper than that. It is God who says that the weather, even the weather in the end times, will go woke, go crazy, out of control. And that's what we're seeing. And as you study the book of Revelation and the heat that will come upon this world and the darkness that will come upon this world, all of this will be more than catastrophic. And then number 10, knowledge will increase. Daniel 12 verse 4. A professor pointed out some time ago that knowledge was increasing at such a rate we can barely keep up. Even computers are out of date before they reach the store shelves. He said if we could condense knowledge into a 24-hour period, all of our major inventions happened in the last half an hour. Can you imagine? It's like in 24 hours everything happens in the last 24. It's hard for me to keep up. I struggle with certain things on the computer. It's too difficult for me. Why? Because I didn't grow up like that. Now our grandchildren, that's different. They go and say, "Hey Grandpa, here it is, there's your answer." Okay, and I'm just looking and say, "Okay, I don't know what you just did, but it worked. And thank you for fixing my computer." That's the day we live in. It's that hockey stick, and it's going up, and we can't keep up with it. And like he says, the computers that appear on the shelves in stores are already outdated the day that they go up for sale. We live in amazing times, that's for sure. I want to close with a psalm. It's called "Sing to the Lord," and they sing this Shiru LaHashem, and that's what it means, sing to the Lord. It's a group of 4 young Jewish boys. And it comes out of Psalm 96. And I hope you can enjoy that. And until next time, after this song, I will not talk anymore. Lord bless. And if we don't meet here on earth, we meet in the air. Bye-bye.
Throughout all the years of hardships and tears, we've looked up above for help and for love when crossing the sea or for family.